As the Cash for Asylum investigation into the German Federal Office for Migration and Refugees, or BAMF, gathers speed, public focus has turned to the German Chancellor Angela Merkel and what she knew about the agency's problems. Its former head, Frank-Jürgen Weiss, gave an interview to a leading German Sunday tabloid in which he said he held face-to-face meetings with the Chancellor and made it explicitly clear that his agency couldn't cope with the pressures being put on it by her refugee policy.
There was no structured or organized development in the form of specific tasks, setting of priorities or calculation of personnel requirements. Since no instructions were available, everyone could work as they saw fit.
In response to those claims, a spokesperson for Angela Merkel had this to say.
Of course, there was an ongoing, intense process of changing the work of the German Federal Office of Migration and Refugees when the refugee crisis broke out. I'm just trying to make clear that Mr. Weiss has repeatedly reported on these changes and improvements to the heads of federal states, the Bundestag, the cabinet, and he has spoken at press conferences and again to the public. And naturally, the Chancellor was informed about the plan of the reform and the measures taken in this agency.
The investigation began after it was alleged that an employee at the BAMF office in Bremen wrongfully granted asylum to 1,200 people. On that list, though, security services say were 2 Islamic extremists, one of whom they describe as an actual terror threat, while 44 others belonged to Islamist groups. Prosecutors allege that the female employee took both money and gifts to grant asylum wrongfully between 2013 and 2016. As the investigation continues, she denies those charges against her. Politicians, both from the opposition and from within Angela Merkel's own coalition partners, are saying they want answers.
It is not about accusations, it is not about the vindication of a conspiracy theory, but rather about a sober investigation.
We have to investigate the accusations of negligence and corruption, and we have to do it quickly. And everyone who was involved should give testimony, the former refugee coordinator and the interior minister. There is work to be done in this investigation.
Last month, the country's largest opposition party, Alternative for Germany, launched a lawsuit against Angela Merkel's refugee policy. They say that the Chancellor's decision to welcome around 1.5 million refugees to the country should have gone through a vote in the Bundestag, and the fact that it didn't is unconstitutional.
And so we put the legal course in front of the court to question whether there is a legal explanation or a legal reason to open our borders. Hopefully we'll have a special committee to go into that BAMF scandal. Well, the point we're making is probably the scandal is not something about the BAMF, so one office in Bremen. It has to do with political responsibility, and we have to look who is responsible for everything what has happened there.
But for now, the big question remains, if the Chancellor knew that the Migration and Refugee Agency was struggling, why was nothing done to relieve the pressure? Peter Oliver, RT, Berlin.